Our first task was to create a SkyBox using a single texture. The SkyBox uses only one texture, and all the faces use the subtexture from this texture. To create the SkyBox, we have created a similar class file, just like the flat plane. Our SkyBox ranges from -500 to 500 in each of the axes. Here we are giving the UV coordinates for the subtextures from the texture file. That's how we create all the faces. This is the header file for the SkyBox. We load the texture, we set it to context, we create the SkyBox. Here we see the scaling is 1, 1 and 1, so no scaling is applied. Then we render the SkyBox here. That's all for the first task. In our second task, we were asked to create a terrain generator. It generates a terrain and then applies the height to the y coordinate using the height map. Then we apply the texture to the terrain. The terrain and the textures have the same dimensions, the width and the height. To create this terrain generator, we created a terrain model. Here we are calculating and finding out the height of the y coordinate in each of the vertex from the height map file. Then we create the sequence of vertex here. Here we are passing the y values to each of the vertex, which we calculated here. Then we are storing it in a single array. Then we calculate the sequence of indices with the proper winding. Then we render the terrain. Here we are creating the terrain. We are loading the sand texture. Our terrain is 256 by 256 and the sand texture is also 256 by 256. We have the height control by 25 and our y transition is -15 for the terrain. And here we are rendering the terrain. If we want to see how our terrain looks in the wireframe mode, we will not load the texture. And that's how our terrain looks in the wireframe mode.